And no, Josh, I did not forget to start the live stream. I just hadn't hit the go live button yet because Mrs. Anti-Tracker is just telling me something, and I didn't feel like having her tell me that while I was live. And lucky me, what she was telling me was that for some reason, reasons unknown at this point, our water bill, which is normally around $50 every month, our water bill came out to be over $600. No idea why, just $600 out of the blue. So I'm gonna have to call the water company tomorrow and try to find out why the heck is our water bill $600, because there's no way on God's green earth that we consumed $600 worth of water in the last 30 days. I mean, just yeah. And no, I'm not trying to throw Mrs. Anti-Tracker under the bus at all. She just wanted to tell me about that, and I did. And so she actually wanted to tell me that before I went live. So that's all that was. But yeah. And that's just insane. So that's just one more lovely freaking thing to deal with today, and I'm just done with life right now. And it's funny you should say that, Mr. CCDB. I don't have a sprinkler system. You know, I don't use outdoor water at all. I mean, the only way it could be outdoor water would be if a neighbor snuck up to my faucet, turned it on, and left it on, and I never noticed. That would be it. But I guess I'll walk around the house and make sure nobody turned on one of the spigots, but I can't think of any other possible cause, or just an accounting error. You know, yeah, or a leak coming from the main. That's, you know, something like that. So, I mean, if that's a legit charge, we are screwed with an F, you know? So, yeah, that's just lovely. That is just freaking lovely. Robert says, hello. Josh says there might be a small leak. Yeah, Thomas said, well, I have no idea. Schlaflin says, good evening. Hope things get better. Yeah, you and me both. Valor says, just got here. Everything okay? Well, just got a lovely water bill that makes no sense. Thomas says, Matthew probably. Oh, no doubt Matthew did it. WR Croston says, punish Anti-Jerker for streaming by watching the awesome streaming and hitting the like button. Okay. Had to fix my brother's water main about 6 months ago. That sucks. Might have been the time Josh threw a water party. Well, might have been the time Josh threw a water party. I don't remember Josh doing that. Robert says, I didn't get the work on my Explorer finished off, so although I did have Bird of Prey 5's broadcast going while I was working on it. That stream was fun at times. So, I enjoyed our arguing over the education system and stuff like that. Didn't so much enjoy the earlier stuff, but yeah. Multi-Gun Man says, how's it going? Hanging in there as best I can. And WR says, by the way, greetings, wonderful seeming and wonderful adjacent people. How you doing? So the link to the whatchamacallit stream, this is just a regular old StreamYard stream. So if somebody wants to come on, chat, argue, whatever, for the next hour and a half or so, please do. I'm honestly, I'll tell you the honest to goodness truth here. I have the official candle of truth burning. Whenever I have the candle lit means I can't lie. The reason I'm doing this live stream right now is because I'm not allowed to go to bed for an hour and a half. So that's all it is. Mrs. H, I'm really tired, honestly. And Positive Candor is going to join me. Hey, Positive Candor, how you doing, buddy?
So, I guess.
You and me both. And Schleflister puts in $5. I'm sorry, I'm so tired. I cannot pronounce your name. Says something for a bill or bottle, whatever is needed more. Well, probably a bottle, but it won't be a bottle of booze. It'll be a bottle of pills that I've got so many prescriptions going. But thank you, my friend. I do truly appreciate it. And Thomas says, you haven't made much progress in your mining recently. No, I haven't been in the Minecraft world. I'm gonna probably spend some time in there tomorrow during the day. So Positive, what's going on with your nerve stuff? Tell me. I haven't heard much from you. I don't know if you've had any progress with your doctors. So what's going on with you?
Yeah, it's hard to even get seen by a doctor still, which is number one.
Have they done like a nerve conduction study on you and everything?
No, not really.
What have they done?
All they've done is an MRI, which
that's it.
So far, which showed the two nerves that had, I guess partial paralysis to them.
So they know where the problem is.
Yeah.
But and I assume you're still having the problem, right?
Oh yeah.
That's BS, man. I don't know what kind of.
It's very hard to.
Because even I've had a nerve conduction study, and I'm not having anything like that going on.
It's like I said, it's real hard getting seen still by doctors. Which, to me is unreal, but whatever.
What kind of insurance do you have?
I have TRICARE through the military. Is mainly what I use.
Do you have like private insurance or
no?
Okay,
no, that's all I got.
That sucks. That's probably the problem. I don't like to diss the military because I'm former military myself, but the honest truth is that's why you're having so much difficulty getting anything done.
Yeah, because it takes forever to get to see my doctor, and and they're the only ones that can refer me to another doctor to get other stuff done. So until then, I'm kind of stuck.
Because I'll tell you, with that my issue is a little more generalized than yours, where like you have a very specific problem, and so for me, I've been, the big issue with me is trying to narrow it down and to figure out exactly what the issue is. And by the way, I see, thank you. So Blaine, let me recognize a couple of super chats real quick. Blaine throws in $5, said, don't let the BS get you down. It's hard sometimes, but I won't, man. And I got you guys to keep me going. And I truly, truly appreciate it, buddy. And Philip also throws in 50 MX. I think that's 50. Is MX for Mexican, or is MX something else?
I doubt it.
I never understand. Anyway, it says play Jurassic World Evolution. It has kept me awoke till 4 a.m. I've never played it. I don't know that game at all. But thank you for the 50 MXs, and I will keep that on my list. And Multi Gunman says, my Shetland sheepdog has dermatitis. Have to apply special medicated salve to his wee-wee for 2 weeks. Now that is loyalty. Ooh. Yeah, I don't that's not good. I don't know that I could do that. And just listen to Doomcock. It says it's reported that a certain blue alien is going to have his or her day in the sun. Do you think the House of Mouse will bring Thrawn into canon? I don't know, and I don't. You know what? Honestly, and I don't know how you feel about this, Candor. But as far as that kind of thing, speculating on rumors and stuff, if they bring him in, great. You know, they've mentioned his name in The Mandalorian because they did say. What's her name? Ahsoka, when she said that she was after him. And so that's enough to say that, okay, that's a possibility. But until we see him, that's all it is speculation.
Yeah.
And so, and so I'll just say, hey, it's a possibility. And joining us right now is Mr. CCDV and Admiral Saval. Hey, guys, hope you're doing well.
Hey, Admiral. Hey, AT, I have a question for you. Is it
I will do my best to answer.
Is it pronounced Schnepfenjäger?
I have no idea.
To me, reading it, it looks like Schnepfenjäger.
Yeah, I have no freaking clue. And I apologize for butchering your name, and so especially since you super chatted me a few minutes ago. But you guys know I suck at names. Oh, well, there you go. It looks like you got it right. Schnepfenjäger. Looks like you got it right.
Right on.
You know me.
I only learned German a while ago.
So yeah,
what was I in Germany?
Fun day for me. My entire system became corrupted, and I had to reinstall Windows, and now doing all my damn games.
Ah, that sucks, man. That sucks.
Oh, I have to do that to my brother's computer.
Let me tell you, I
have to do it every 3 to 6 months, it seems, even on this brand new $8,000 machine.
You should talk
to
what's his name, LD. Maybe there's something going on. But
there's gotta be something going on.
I brought the issue up to Origin, and they said it's probably the game files that are corrupting the OS somehow.
I don't know.
How long has it been since we talked, AT?
I don't know, a couple, 3 months at least.
I'm back home in Williams.
That's good, I think.
And my brother is living with me. Yeah.
Right.
He sold.
How are
you
guys doing? Because I know that you guys were on kind of iffy terms last time we talked.
Actually,
you were working on getting on better terms, but you were unsure.
Unfortunately, it took my mom dying, but we did end up coming together as brothers. So
good.
Yeah. Our relationship now is far better than it was 4 months ago.
That's good. And now you see, I already forgot how to pronounce it. Schlep. How do you say it?
Schnepfenjäger.
Schnepfenjäger throws in a $3 super sticker. Thank you so much, my friend, with that pear thing, giving the thumbs up. And so, and I was kind of along the lines of like what Admiral Saval was talking about. You know, I don't know if you guys remember, but my computer, I had an i9 that bit the dust over a month ago. Had an extended warranty. I sent it in, and I'm still waiting.
It's probably COVID stuff.
Well, it's actually, I mean, because here's what's driving me crazy is the people at Asurion, and I will say this to the folks at Asurion. If you work at Asurion, you work for a company that works in the pit of hell. I hate you. All right? I hate Asurion.
Agreed.
And it's funny because I actually, I'm not going to name names because just in case that person is watching right now, I have a good friend whose ex-wife is an executive at Asurion. And so, you know what? Now I understand why you're divorced. It's like, and hey, Daniel, welcome. And so the Asurion folks, are absolutely aggravating because for a solid month, I go to their website, I enter in my claim number, and it says that we needed to order parts, and it's taking a little bit longer than we expected. It said that for a solid month. Look, a little bit longer than expected might be a couple of days. I might even accept a couple of weeks. Not a freaking month.
I guess you don't follow tech news. There's a chip shortage for all electronics devices. I was lucky I got my computer in December. Originally, they said I was going to get it in February.
I get that, Admiral, but here's the thing. My computer is not, I mean, yes, it's an i9 system, but it is a 2-year-old system. It's not bleeding edge, which none of the parts are in super high demand.
What is the graphics card?
Graphics card is an RTX 2080.
That is pretty cutting edge considering
it's high end, but it's not
harder to acquire.
The 3080, sure, but not the 2080. The 2080 you can still get in a month. You can get one. All right, and I mean, we're not talking about like, look, if you were to go online right now, you could probably find
Amazon Basic Services
and it's not
PC.
And it's not the graphics card that's the issue anyway.
What did the ABS PC?
I don't know. It's a. I don't even know what you mean by that.
ABS is Amazon's brand.
No. The brand of it is Upgrade King. Is the
Computer Upgrade King? That's another Amazon brand, but it's not particularly owned by Amazon per se.
Right.
Like,
well, I bought it through Amazon, but
do you guys know what a GeForce GTX is?
Oh yeah.
It's like the AE3A or something like that. It's apparently a video card. I mean, it has its own cooling fan. I don't know. I didn't build my computer. My brother did.
Right. Well, this is actually, it's funny because the computer I'm on now is a computer I built like 8 years ago. So
yeah, my computer should last me for 5 years. Hopefully, if I have to reinstall again, I will end up having to send it out to Origin PC because it shouldn't get corrupt. There must be a failure in one of the drives.
Well, if it's
the corruption,
the problem, Admiral, is if it's constantly getting corrupted, there's something going on.
It's every 3 to 6 months.
Right.
If they're saying it's your gaming software, then that may be the problem that you're having.
Right.
I mean, you know what? That something ain't right. There's something.
I was going to ask you if you read Daniel Hot Topics' comment, but Daniel Hot Topics is here.
Well, Daniel, I know, is obsessed with Hugh Jackman. and honestly, now he says that Hugh Jackman signed a 3-picture deal.
Everybody, ow, dog, that hurts. How's Auntie doing?
Auntie's sleeping. That's all Auntie does. Although I think now.
How old is Auntie?
We don't know. We rescued Auntie 2 years ago.
Yeah, we got her when she was only maybe a month old.
Right. Auntie, when we rescued Auntie 2 years ago, the people at where we rescued her estimated that she was somewhere around 9, but we don't know.
Yeah, smaller dogs always live longer.
Yeah, but we don't know. Anyway, Daniel, you there? I think Daniel might have stepped away. But
I'm here.
Okay. So now, as far, so what were you saying? Who's this Mike Sutton? Is this a rumor mill guy or something?
Yeah, it's a rumor mill guy with a good track record, and
but you know I don't care about rumor mill guys.
Yeah, I know, but like
I
it's a
thought
really
that Hugh
rumor.
Jackman retired from that role. He said he wasn't going to play that role again.
Well, okay, here's the thing, and let me say this for Daniel real quick, and I'm not gonna, is that there have been pictures that have leaked of Hugh Jackman hanging out with Kevin Feige and a picture of Wolverine's arm and claws. And that's what started all of this.
I have to admit, I would watch Hugh Jackman in anything anyway. I mean, I own Oklahoma for crying out loud.
So, and that's why I do think Wolverine's going to have a cameo in the MCU, or Hugh Jackman will. But I don't think it's going to be like this big 3-picture deal. I don't think that he's going to be a star in any of these movies. I think that at best, we're going to have a cameo in 1 or 2 films.
I would say that's more likely the case, yeah. I can't see Hugh Jackman playing Wolverine again for just because.
I would love, like, I'll tell you what, Daniel, I would love to see, and in fact, what I would love to see the Hugh Jackman's Wolverine fight Mark Ruffalo's Hulk. Do I think
absolutely.
Do I think that's going to happen? Probably not, but I would love to see it. I think that what we're going to see is honestly, I think we're going to see Hugh Jackman's Wolverine in Deadpool 3, and I think we're going to see Hugh Jackman in a very short cameo in Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. That's what I think. That's what I think we're going to see. I do not think we're going to see him anywhere else.
Yeah, I could see him doing short cameos, but not a full movie.
Yeah, and I think we're going to get a new. I think we're going to get a new Wolverine somewhere else, and hopefully a Wolverine that's more like Wolverine.
Yeah, because you don't like Hugh Jackman.
Well, it has nothing to do with my liking. I love Hugh Jackman, but I don't like Hugh Jackman's Wolverine. And when I say that, it's because he's nothing like Wolverine. Wolverine is short, bad-tempered, and ugly. That's Wolverine. And he's not a tall, good-looking underwear model. He's not. Hugh Jackman is. It's funny because like the only time Hugh Jackman looks like Wolverine is like before they clean him up in the Wolverine. You remember in the Wolverine, and he's looking all rough, and then all the ladies like clean him up, and then all of a sudden he looks good again.
Yeah, but he's still too tall. He's too tall.
He's still a foot too tall, but
right,
it's like,
yeah. I'm looking at Wolverine from the comics and looking at Hugh Jackman and going, okay, they're two totally different things, but honestly, he did a great job playing the Wolverine.
he did a good job playing the character he was cast as, but the character he was cast as was not Wolverine. That's the problem. He was cast at because in fact the X-Men movies, and this is a problem from the start. The X-Men movies were a horrible set of movies because they weren't the X-Men. They I don't know who they were, but they weren't. Like, think about that. So Scott, Cyclops.
I did not like his portrayal at all in the X-Men movies.
His character is supposed to be like the Captain America of mutants. Did you get that feeling? He was just kind of a dick.
He was.
Who did we lose? Somebody dropped out. I wasn't looking when somebody dropped out.
Positive Candor dropped out.
All right. Well, Positive, if you come back, please do. Let's see.
He kind of acted like the one from the animated series, in my opinion.
He was more like the animated series one than the comic book one. I will give you that. But that's again not really what like if you look at the comic book version of Wolverine. I'm trying to get a, let's see, come on, how do I open this? Let's just do this.
Admiral Saval, I'm not sure I want you on screen without your dog. I'm joking. Although your dog does look better than you do.
Am I really that fat?
I didn't say anything about your weight.
Daniel, can you see? I don't know how well you can see it, but you see that image there?
Yeah, I can see it.
See how ugly that
Yeah,
guy
cool.
is? That's what Wolverine's
Yeah, he's
supposed to
ugly.
look like. Yeah, he's ugly. He's bad-tempered. He's the most ornery character in the show or on the team, but he's kind of lovable because of all that.
Yeah.
You know? And so he's, because he's the shortest guy. I mean, imagine you got that little runt of a guy running around the place. He's and just acting like he owns the place,
Well, yeah, he's 5 feet tall, but he's also 5 feet wide with all that muscle.
Right. And he also and he's also the most tenacious fighter on the team. Right. And you do not want to mess with that guy. So, and Thomas says, so he's like anti-checker. Thanks. I appreciate that. But I like the, I like the idea of having, because the X-Men are really, we talk about diversity and representation and all that. And the X-Men have been about that since long before Star Trek Discovery. But they were about that in the true sense of it. They'll put the ugly guy as a member of the team, and he was one of the most popular members of the team.
How dare you istiphobe?
Well, it's funny though, because where's the, if you look at the it doesn't matter even on Star Trek Discovery, where is the ugly little short shriveled dude? Right?
I'm pretty sure that's a woman, and she works in the engineering department.
Uh-huh.
Or I should say she sits in the engineering department.
Now you're shaming if you say that about a woman. So don't you dare do that.
Yeah, that makes me the ist, doesn't it?
So it's but the X-Men have been doing that for decades before Star Trek Discovery, and they've been doing it well because these characters were actually from all over the world, and it was part of their character. Storm was it wasn't Halle Berry trying to fake her way through an African accent for half a movie, and it was Storm was actually from Africa, and Wolverine was from Canada, and it was part of their personality. Colossus was from Russia. Like I remember, like in the original trilogy of X-Men movies. Do you remember Colossus? What the heck was that? He wasn't freaking Colossus. He was like some teenager from Ohio or something. I mean, it's like none of it was accurate. So, the first time they got Colossus right was in Deadpool, of all things.
That is true.
Yeah. Hey,
That is
Multigun
true.
Man, glad you're back. And so, yeah, so I would love to see them, so forget about, here's the funny thing. Right now, Marvel could produce a 100% comic book accurate version of the X-Men, and everybody's going to scream that Marvel's gone woke.
But they're not. They're just staying true to the original
they just be
source
true to the
material. It's funny that you brought up Colossus from the Deadpool movies because the actor playing him is a really tall, skinny guy.
Right. But the CG they did on him made him, which is it's funny because that's why they had him be armored up all the time. That was the one thing they changed about him, was that they made it so that he was always in armored form. Which
when he was rarely in armored form in the books, right?
Because in the books, interestingly enough, when he was in armored form, he didn't breathe, he couldn't eat. And so he needed to turn human in order to eat. And so there were times he had to turn human in order to do things like eat. But when he was armored, he also was invulnerable to like being drowned or anything like that. So he didn't have to breathe or eat or anything like that. But he would starve to death eventually if he stayed in armored form all the time.
Yeah, but I mean, how do you find a 6 foot tall actor or 7 foot tall actor who's all buff and muscled out? Yeah.
Well, he's actually. It's interesting because if I remember correctly, and I don't remember the actual. I'm sure if Darren Wagner were here, he could tell you the exact numbers. But if I remember correctly, Colossus is like about 7'2" or something like that. But Peter, the person who is Colossus, is only like 6'2". He turns when he puts his armor on, he gains a good foot. And so he's big and he's buff. But it would be like imagine if you're the size of Arnold Schwarzenegger, but then when you put the armor on, the armor puts a good 2 inches thick metal armor around you everywhere. So you're gonna gain a lot of height out of that because
it's gonna be tough. It's tough to portray that regardless. But yeah,
so it would work. The other problem I had though is that, and what they tried to do in the movies, especially the later X-Men movies, that was garbage and not part of what the X-Men were originally. Is that the X-Men, the mutant concept in the comic books was always an analogy to racism.
Yeah.
It was the mutant concept was invented in the 60s, and Professor X was kind of an analogy to Martin Luther King, while Magneto was an analogy to Malcolm X, to try and kind of show the differences between how to deal with the way that people feel about minorities, and the correct way versus the incorrect way, but in the movies they tried to kind of make it about gays, and that just doesn't work. Where like remember in the which one was it? Can't remember if it was the second one where Iceman's mom was like, "Oh, have you tried just not being a mutant?" That kind of thing.
Right. Like go to mutant re-education camp.
Yeah, and crap like that. And it's like, you know what? Now you're trying, and that's also like trying to make it into a gay analogy. And the problem is that it doesn't work as well, as an analogy. It just kind of falls apart as an analogy because it's not, it's being gay is a very different thing than what your physical construct is.
Yeah.
And so that just did not work. Yeah. But
interesting that I can talk about these topics. I was a sports ball player in high school. I really didn't get into comics and stuff like that.
You were a sports ball player. Shame on you. You don't belong with us.
I'm allowed to say that, though, right?
You can say it. That doesn't mean you're not welcome anymore. Damn sports ball players.
Okay, you go to a couple of all-star games and people know your name, and
Yeah, people like you are the ones who are beating me up behind the basketball courts at lunch.
that is so not true. I was defending people like you on the basketball courts.
You weren't doing a very good job.
I was the jock who had all the nerd friends.
Maximilian was a football player. Scored 6 touchdowns as a running back. Well, that's impressive. Jerk.
My game was actually water polo or basketball, depending on what year it was.
My game was just trying to avoid getting my butt kicked by people like you and Maximilian. And I didn't do a very good job of it.
My 4th deployment was in Iraq, and then we closed out Iraq, and I had to go to Qatar.
Mm-hmm.
And in Qatar, there was a pool, so I was doing laps, and there were a couple of collegiate water polo players in a different unit, and they said, "Hey, you want to put together a game?" I was like, of course I want to put together a game. But there were only 3 swimmers. Like, everyone else didn't know how to swim or could barely stay treading water for the entire game. So the only 2 goals that my team made were for me.
John DeMarco, I see you in the chat there. You should come up here. I've been meaning to pick a fight with you lately. But yeah, I just when I just growing up in school, that was like, gym to me, gym class was just terrorism training. I hated it. It's one of those, like, I personally, I think that, beyond basic physical education, when you're a little kid, I think gym class should not be forced upon people who are not physically gifted. And it's just wrong to make people like me be tortured by people like you. It really is. It's like, what is the point in just making it so that I have to I have to spend an hour of my day getting my butt kicked by people like you and Maximilian, and then but you know what, you don't have to go to the frickin' drama class for an hour every day so we can make fun of you.
Hey, I was in drama class as well. I was also in marching band.
But for you, it was an elective. You didn't have to go, right? You could go if you wanted to, but you didn't. Like, we had one guy in our drama class that was on the wrestling team, right? But he didn't have to be there, but he chose it as an elective. So of course, but since he was like, the captain of the wrestling team, guess what? When we had our high school production of The King and I, guess who gets cast as the king, even though he can't sing and he can't act, And so he gets the best part in the show because he's the freaking jock that the school principal loves. Oh, great. So not only does he get all the praise and at the wrestling matches, but now he gets to be the freaking king in The King and I, even though he can't sing and he can't act. Oh, and guess what, Michael? You get to teach him how to sing the freaking songs that you can sing, but he can't.
So what you're saying is he was no Yul Brenner.
Yul Brenner? He was more like Mule Brenner.
I'm sorry. I've always been able to sing and act. So
the only thing I will give him credit for, and Jeff, if you're listening, and Jeff knows who he is, if you're listening to this, I love you, buddy. I love you, buddy, so much, because I will give you all the credit in the world, because you sing like a freaking mule. You sucked hardcore. But there was one performance that this happened during a live performance, and because he committed to the role, he sucked at it, but he absolutely committed to it. Like, he shaved his head for the role. He wanted to do his best at it, and he ran up there on the stage, shaved head, barefoot, and those basic plywood stages that the stagecraft people built,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
He jumps up on that stage and he rammed his foot into a giant splinter.
Ouch.
Went deep in his foot, like deep in his foot. Blood everywhere. Just massive cut into his foot. He never flinched. He never did. He kept through it. And this was like during the big production. The big, if you don't know The King and I, the big song and dances, it's called Shall We Dance? And so the King and Anna, they have this big song and dance where they're, shall we dance? Dun, dun, dun. On a bright cloud of music, and they start dancing all around the stage, and there's this big show-stopping number, and he's literally dancing all around the stage, blood everywhere, and he never flinched. And then after the performance, they had to take him to the hospital and get stitches in his foot. All right, so absolute props to him for that. Okay,
that's a hardcore dude. He may not be able to sing and dance, but he did his best.
Right. So, like when he's singing, he's like, "Shall we dance?" But
shall we dance?
Yeah.
Shall we dance?
But he committed to it, right? So, hey, Arabic, how you doing? And so he sang like a mule, but he also had the stubbornness of one, and he did a great job there. But it always, to this day, I will never forget the fact that there is no way in hell that he should have been cast as the king. He only got cast as the king because he was the captain of the wrestling team.
I feel like I'm in a really bad position tonight because I feel like I'm the one-upper guy right now.
Hey, Mercer.
When I was playing in Godspell, there was a nail sticking up on the edge of the stage, and I ripped my pants and it tore into my thigh. So while I was singing in Godspell, I had blood running down my leg.
You're like, oh dear Lord, 3 things I pray. Yeah, I could see that.
Thank you, Ervik Sonder. The interview this morning actually did go really well. I'll find out tomorrow or next week if I got the job.
Oh, you had an interview today? Job interview?
Yeah. I applied for a contracting officer representative job at Edwards Air Force Base in California. So it's 1 hour from my kids, and it's going to finish my service obligation. So I'll actually get my retirement pay when I do the 5 years at this job.
Mercer, we've been streaming now for about 40 minutes. So I wouldn't say the start of the stream, but not too long. And Jolan True, if I didn't say it already, Arabic, man, my memory is not working very well. So if you saw the first video, but you didn't see the repost I did, I am not doing the super long live stream this week because I forgot that Deej is doing a super long live stream this week.
Yeah, that starts Wednesday night or tomorrow night, yeah?
Right. So here's what we're going to do. So this week, so Deej and I are doing our Wednesday night stream as usual. And so, which means, the Pinky and the Brain, which I don't know if you've seen that yet, Mr. CCDV. If you haven't.
I watched the first 3 episodes of the new Pinky and the Brain.
Yeah. So we're doing the Pinky and the Brain tomorrow as usual, which is going to be a fun one because we're going to not only review the final episode of Loki, but we're doing a review of Black Widow as well. Which will
sorry, I was thinking Animaniacs. You're actually watching Pinky and the Brain from back in the 90s.
No, we call it Pinky and the Brain because it's a show featuring Deej and me.
Okay. Are you Pinky or the Brain?
What do you think? Who wears the pink bunny suit? Jeez. Anyway, tomorrow night will be reviewing the final episode of Loki as well as Black Widow, although in fairness, the review of Black Widow will probably end up being a review of the Phantom Menace's craziness over Black Widow, which is kind of hilarious. And Philip throws in another 20 of those Mexican things, whatever they are, and says we need more shark video games. Indeed, we need shark versus dolphin video games. That's what we really need.
I say make a Sharknado video game.
You know what I want? If somebody, I wish I knew how to work in like the Unity engine or something, because I would love to make a Matthew, like you call it Life with the game should be called Life with Matthew, and it's like a first-person game where you're on a bicycle and you're just running down little old ladies. You're running down little old ladies, and then like you when you drive by water, you shoot at dolphins. That's like the whole game. All right, so tomorrow night we're going to review the end of Loki and the Black Widow movie. Then, as soon as we finish up that show, then he is going to start his massive live stream. He's going to go for, I think he's going to go for 48 hours. And then next week, we're going to do the exact same thing, except I'm going to be doing a massive live stream. You see, I was going to do it this week, and I completely forgot that he was doing his. And so, because my brain is honestly not working properly, so that's part of this whole neurological crap that I'm dealing with. So next week he's going to, or next week I'm going to be doing that. Now here's the fun part. I'm going to try to get a few guests to come on and do some of the hot foods with me. Now LDG is probably going to do some of this with me, but talking to him today, it does sound like I have the commitment of none other than the great Lore Reloaded to come on and take part in the 2.2 million Scoville unit cheese balls.
Why do you do that to yourself?
Come on, just to see Lore Reloaded eat the cheese balls. Come on.
You can get Jedi Bill to eat anything. So
but Lore Reloaded, dude.
I know. I'm looking forward to seeing that too.
Don't tell me you won't super chat to see Lore Reloaded eat a couple of these things. So
I would actually. I really would. The videos with you and Lore Reloaded are just hilarious.
Actually, I was Lore. It's funny and by the way, let me recognize Philip with another 20 of those Mexican things. Says sharks versus dolphins. I would buy that absolutely. And Mercer with a couple of bucks says, I love it when Bortus leaves the baby with the two drunk dudes. You're wrong, man. And Max Millen says, you're the man, Andy Trekker. I can't even take that. I tell you, it's going to be a blast. All right. So, and so if we get Lore doing that, it'll be fun. But here's the funny thing. So Lore and I have been talking a little bit lately because he has, look, Lore and I have been friends for a long time, and I've known him personally. He used to live literally right down the street from me, and then he had a tough time. He had a very rough divorce with his wife, and I'm not going to get into details because that's not my place. But it was difficult. Yeah, it was difficult for him. He had a very difficult time. He has a couple of young kids, and he's dealing with some stuff, right? And so dealing with all this stuff, he kind of had, let me go by the wayside, and I understand that. I wasn't, I'm not the kind of guy to, look, if you need your space, I'm going to respect that. And I did. And I haven't talked to him directly for, a year and a half. And just the last couple of weeks, we started talking a little bit again. And it sounds, he's been wanting to catch up a little bit, and now we're talking about, hey, you know what? Be fun to start doing videos again together, maybe do some live streams together again. And so hopefully we can start doing that because we had a lot of fun together in the past.
That is great. The two of you together is just, you guys really are funny.
We had fun arguing, and yeah, it was yeah, we did. We had a lot of fun together. Wesley says, "Where's my number 15 make data lab?" Wesley, you don't know, man. Have you been that out of touch? Do you really not know? We're on a computer that's like 8 years old right now because my computer died and I had to send it to Asurion. Asurion is the pit of hell. And Asurion is the insurance, insurance, extended warranty, whatever people who sit there and say, "We've ordered replacement parts, but it's taking a little bit longer than expected to get your computer fixed for a freaking month." So that's where your number 15 is with the people in the third pit of hell called Asurion. That's where number 15 is right now, Wes. And besides that, you need to change your name since Will Wheaton is I can't even say what Will Wheaton is because I don't like saying words that bad.
I think Wesley Crusher is his real name.
I know what his real name is, and it's not Wesley Crusher. So
okay, but we can still say "Shut up, Wesley."
You can still say "Shut up, Wesley." You need a new name, Wesley, because Will Wheaton is so freaking evil right now that I hate him.
I cannot believe what he said.
Don't say that.
I thought Marina Sirtis had the worst comment when Texas had the blackout, and Marina Sirtis said, "Texas deserves it because you're all Republicans."
You say you haven't seen me in years. Look, link is right at the top of the chat. Come in. I'm right here, buddy. Come on in. I'm not hiding. Not hiding from you. Everybody that's come on in. There's one person I came in, and before I could click to bring them into the chat, they disappeared. But come on in. Open lines, buddy. Open lines.
I was absolutely shocked about what Will Wheaton said, though.
Yeah.
Like, please check your privilege at the door, you moron.
There he is. Hey, Wes.
You check your privilege.
And what are you talking about? We talk about years. We did that special live stream just for you where we watched Trigun.
April. Okay, so I haven't seen you on since April because you moved over to Twitch.
I haven't moved to Twitch. I do some of my live streams on Twitch and some on freaking YouTube.
All right, so I should change my name. All right, what should I change my name to? Let's ask the audience.
Anything but Wesley. All right, so
you know the story how I got this nickname, right?
No. Cinnamon says woke. How about you change your name to woke?
Woke. Then everyone will say, "Shut up, woke."
Change it to Charlie's Chicken Factory.
So I was doing comments on one of your streams, and I had my real name, which is Wesley, but my last name starts with C, and someone said, "Shut up, Wesley Crusher," and I was like, "All right, you know what? I'm going to take that. I'm going to take that and use it."
Well, yeah, but now Wesley, you might as well call yourself Will Wheaton.
Maximilian is recommending Michael Burnham.
But at least Wesley Crusher is a fictional character, and Will Wheaton is just the actor who portrayed him.
Yes, but there's that direct connection. I'd rather be Michael Burnham right now. I'd rather be associated with Michael Burnham than Wesley Crusher right now.
And I just got Yitzy to make this avatar for me.
Well, it just haven't changed. You know what? Actually, because I'll tell you about Yitz's. Here's the dirty little secret of Yitz's avatars. The Wesley Crusher is a separate layer in his files, so he can change the name easy.
Yeah, I've got another one that is the same without the name, so I could use that one.
Hello, people.
Hey, Kermit. So you can absolutely have him change it. He'll change it, no problem. And and Donnie, can't wait till that season finale. Just 5.75 hours away.
The question though is
Wesley Cunning.
Wesley Cunning.
To be honest, I didn't mind him in the Star Trek. Next Generation.
I'm not ignoring you, Thomas. I promise. Well, Kermit, it's not about in Star Trek: The Next Generation. It was about what Will Wheaton said in real life. It was very offensive.
Okay, then I don't follow that stuff.
Yeah, what he said was very mean and very just very cruel to a lot of people.
Oh,
Yeah, he actually was he's wishing that people would die, and
that's not fair.
No, it was not good.
No, it was really cruel what he said.
Yeah.
What I was going to say is my in the Iron Legion book, they actually talk like they're in the military over their comms.
I have not read it, so I don't know, but that's
no. They talk trash to each other.
Mhm.
Well, military comms is not necessarily fast speak, but it is a language all its own.
Yeah. And Valor, I am looking forward to season 2 of Lower Decks as well. I think Lower Decks is definitely the best that the newer Trek has come up with so far.
The only Lower Decks I enjoyed was the finale.
Well,
with the Packlids.
I think that, it's funny, Kermit, because I think that a lot of people with Lower Decks, not everybody liked Lower Decks, and that's perfectly okay. You don't have to like it. But almost everybody liked the last episode, which I thought was interesting. And so that should tell people that at least there is hope.
I liked it when they thought every ship, or at least every Federation ship, was the Enterprise.
Yeah. Oh no, another Enterprise.
There's an Alexander on the panel.
There is an Alexander on the.
This is me. I'm here.
Does anyone know what's going on with Cuba?
And he's gone.
Well, that was fast.
He just came on, said he was here, and left.
Does anyone know what's going on with Cuba?
Cuba. Well, I don't know. Alexander would have been the one to ask, but he left.
Something about rioting in Miami about Cuba.
Oh, and Alexander's back. Hey, Alex.
Back, yes, because every time I'm going on the open line, it's always the same thing. The fucking Google Chrome, what the hell? He's just freezing.
Wait.
Just splendid.
So, Alexander, do you know what's going on in Cuba?
Yes, but there are some protests there because, because of the pandemic, there are absolutely no tourists that have been able to go there, and it hurts so much the economy there. So the problem is that obviously there are people that are very exhausted. People really are exhausted, and some people go on the streets. Yes, there are some people that have a political position. But
everything's political.
They are trying to overthrow the communist regime.
But
aren't they like communist at this point?
We need to look at in the complexity where it is. There are some people in the protest that obviously want to remove the Communist Party. There are people, many people there. They are starving, but we are not. This is not mass protest as we saw, like at the end of the Soviet Union or something like that. This is really smaller, and this is not generalized, I can say.
I didn't know that Cuba had much of a tourist industry out there.
That's all they have, honestly.
Cuba has a master.
Yeah, tourism was opened up.
What's there to
President
do over
Obama
there?
Was president, so you can go to Cuba, or you could go to Cuba, because President Obama opened it up to tourism.
Hey,
what's there to do over there?
Look at all the old cars.
That's about it.
And if you like dancing merengue, that's a great place to do it at.
Oh, look!
All right, guys, so I have to get going. Thanks for letting me come up, AT.
Bye, Wesley.
Anytime, my friend.
And we have to come up with a new name for me.
Yes, you need a new name.
Bye, Wesley.
All right, guys.
Right.
Bye. Cuba
You
is
could be
great.
Worf.
Cuba is amazing for the beach. Beach are really amazing.
There
it really
doesn't
is.
seem to be much to do over there.
You
Well,
have
I went to Cuba one time. It was really good.
Havana. The if you look to the capital, is an amazing city. Seriously, you spoke about the old cars, but you have a lot of great bar, and this is a very place. I mean, Cuba is a paradise, and you have a lot of historical stuff that you can watch. So I can say here we have on the tourist economy, we have a lot of people every year that go in Cuba. We can go there close to free.
I haven't.
We don't need visas, but we don't need visas. This is not what this name the tourist card. This is a kind of light visa, and you can obtain just by signing a contract for a tour with tourist agencies, and people massively going to Cuba in normal time. And
But what's there to see on a tour?
okay, but you go in Dominican Republic, what they are there, or Florida, what you find in Florida? I mean, that's the same. I mean,
You
go
find
there.
Disney in Florida.
Hello, folks.
Okay, you
Hey,
have
Mercy.
you have Disney in Florida, but generally, I mean, when people going on Orlando, all the people going in Tampa Bay are not in Disney, you know.
Thank you for inviting
Some
me
people think that all of Florida is Disney.
on. I used to work at Disney
I'm pretty
World.
sure all Florida is Disney.
Cuba
I used to
We
work at Disney
all
World.
work for Disney. All hail Disney.
It's a
All
small
hail the
Disney
master.
sucks.
It's a small world after all.
Di-
I used to work there. I worked at
Disney
the
gets-
Aerosmith ride.
Disney gets boring after a while, to be honest.
Well, everything gets boring after a while.
I've been there for a fair amount of time.
I've been in Disney World when I was really young. I was a teenager, maybe 17 years old. I was. And
I met George Lucas there.
I
I had one
haven't-
time meeting George Lucas was at Disney World.
I have a show that I've gotten back into, kind of. Bones.
Because every February, George goes to visit Disney World and the Disney Quest arcade with his kids, and I
Disney
was there.
Quest is gone.
Yeah, it was, but this is back when I was there. Yeah, Disney Quest is gone now, but back when I was there, he used to go every February or March, and I met him when I was working at Interventions.
But I found another show that you may or may not like called Bones.
Yeah, I've heard of Bones, but although we're like having 5 different conversations at once.
That's what I
think.
do.
Pretty sure we are. The first
Right?
3
Well, that's-
seasons of Bones is really good, but don't watch seasons 4 and 5. It got really tiresome.
They actually get married in the end.
Well, now I don't need to watch it. So
And they're not compatible at all.
and the awkward silence begins. So that was Thomas says that Disney should have Alexander dress up as Jar Jar. I think that would be awesome.
But everything linked to Jar Jar Binks is awesome anyway.
Yeah.
So
Well, apparently you like linking up with Momo from the looks of it.
that's not true.
That's not what it says.
Michael's right. I agree with him.
Yeah, it says you love Momo.
I don't like.
Although I'm not sure who Momo is.
Momo is Alexander's ultimate love.
So real quick, who's going to be the big baddie tonight in Loki? Who is behind everything?
Well,
Who cares?
No, I think. Well, I care. I'm
It's
very
going
much
to be another version of Loki.
Manifesto.
That's what a lot of people think, but maybe it's Kang. Maybe it's Kang, the time travel guy.
Well, that's the I think that So there's a few possibilities. I think that Kang is a possibility, but I'm not. I would not put a lot of money on Kang. But I think Kang. I'll give like 3-to-1 odds that it's Kang. But I think that best 1-to-1 odds, it's a Loki variant. I think that it's probably a Loki variant. Now, if they really want to go oddball, it's an alligator Loki.
That would be fantastic.
And I would absolutely go through the roof.
What about shape-shifting Loki?
Well, I don't think we've seen a shape-shifting Loki, but I think an alligator Loki would be hilarious. I think female Loki would probably be the most likely.
You know who it would be funny if it was? Odo.
Well, that would be the wrong franchise and the dead actor, but that would
R.I.P. Renee Auberjonois.
Yeah,
but you get my point, though.
Right, but I think most likely a female like Loki. Q also wrong franchise and wrong production company.
But he could.
What about Mephisto?
He could be.
Mephisto, I think if they did it, they would only do it for fan service.
What about Kang beginning with a Q-U-A? How do they say it? It's like a different version of Kang.
Oh, because of the weird spelling on the Stark Tower?
Yeah.
See, I think that if it was something like that, it would end up just being Loki.
Michael
and I would say that.
Burnham.
Hold on just a second. I think because you don't need to throw stuff that that's not true. So
I'm just being a wise ass.
Right, but so let's be serious for a second. So if it was something like Kang or Mephisto or some out there character like that, I think the most likely thing is we would start the episode with and that's the thing I would look for. If the episode starts with a reveal like Kang, like first thing out of the box is a reveal that it's Kang or Mephisto or something.
That's probably not what it is then.
Then by the end of the episode, it's Loki.
Right. It's probably the female Loki or the other female Loki.
Right.
So we're gonna watch it live?
Or even a Hiddleston Loki.
We're gonna watch it live tonight. We're gonna do that. All of us gonna watch it live.
Well, I'll probably be asleep actually.
But Q can travel through space and time. Why not through?
Yeah, but he can't travel between franchises. No.
Yeah, Q. Here's the problem, Kermit. Q works for Paramount, not Disney. So that's not going to work.
Even Seth can't get him on the show. Even Seth can't get him on the Orville, which is so weird to me.
I think it will be the finisher. I think it would be the finisher.
What do you think about Picard? Q become on Picard.
I think the only thing I'm looking forward to with Q on Picard is just the scenes between the two of them having a conversation, hoping the chemistry and the acting is as good as it was. As for the rest of the story, I don't know.
Q looks old as well.
Because the actor's old. It's just the way we understand.
John DeLance is old.
Yeah. They make him look young.
Have any of you guys listened to the debates between Spock and Q?
Yeah, they're fun.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I thought those debate audibles were really funny.
I think that in Loki, what happened is that after that, Loki will turn around at the end, and Punisher will say "fuck you," and he will kill him.
Yeah, I kind of think you're wrong on that one, Alexander. If I were a betting man, I would say that's. I'll tell you what, Alexander. I will bet you $10,000 right now that does not happen.
Aw, AT. Jordan wrote you a poem.
I see that. Thank you so much, Jordan. I appreciate that.
You have 10 grand in case you're wrong.
If it's,
I will put on a second mortgage in my house to pay for it if I have. In fact, I'll tell you what. I will bet you $120,000 that is not the case, Alexander.
If it's happened,
Do you have that kind of cash? Do you have that kind of money?
If it happens, you'll send to me
And won't
action figure.
and won't your wife be mad if you have to pay that amount of money?
If it happens, you need to send to me an action figure of Jar Jar Binks.
You got it.
I loved
choose
Richard
not to
Grant in the last
If it was
refinance my house for a
$100
bet.
grand, wouldn't your wife be mad at you if you paid it?
My wife would be very mad at me, but the problem is that you see, there's no way that would happen, and Alexander will have to pay me $120,000, which will pay off my mortgage. So that would be just fine, and then I will not have to worry about things.
Now that
I saw that Tomorrow War movie.
I like Tomorrow War.
I haven't seen it yet. I've been meaning.
It's actually pretty good.
Yeah, I won't spoil it, but
they saved the world in the past.
I think Chris Pratt
because
his stardom is falling.
They lose the war in the future, but they save the world in the past.
Right, I get I know the plot or the basic
so the
idea.
war in the future doesn't happen.
Right. But please, no spoilers, Kermit.
Yeah, no spoilers.
I just did.
Well, please don't spoil it, okay, Kermit? Please don't.
No, I just did.
Right, stop.
I'm teasing. I won't anymore.
I would like to say spoiler alert at this point because 3/4 of the way through the movie, he comes home. And
why do you say? I said no spoilers. So then you want to?
He said spoiler alert.
He
so that doesn't count.
Yeah, but
he meets up with his girlfriend from World War One, who
I don't want
now.
to
oh, for crying out loud! I was just
It's a
saying
fake spoiler.
The PTSD scene is a very good and realistic scene. That's all I was saying.
Realistic.
Yeah, don't give me the context around the scene. You can just say there's a PTSD scene that's really good.
There's a PTSD scene about
the end fight is better.
That is really good.
See, you don't have to say 3/4 of the way through. See what I'm saying, Mr. C? Give as little context as possible when you're doing that.
Oh, okay. I see what you're saying. Yes, there's a very good PTSD scene in the movie.
There you go. That's
the government took responsibility, took credit for
Kermit?
something that they didn't do.
Okay, I don't need to know.
Like they always do.
I got Donald Duck orange juice in case you guys are interested. See?
No,
I'm not.
I just wanted to let you guys know.
But
Donald
we are
Duck
not. We are not.
Brand orange juice.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. We are not.
You are not what?
We are not here.
You are not here?
No,
I got an Orville poster.
I'm here, but not that ear. Another one here.
I have Orville posters now, replacing all of my Star Trek posters. See right there, because Orville's better than Star Trek.
Those are fighting words in some communities. Not to me, because I agree.
So when is the actual release of the show of Loki?
Tonight at 3 a.m. Eastern time. So for you, I think you're in
Central.
You're probably 2 a.m. tonight, or tomorrow morning.
So that's 5 hours and 25 minutes, right?
Yeah.
I don't actually care about Loki.
I was asking you.
I'll watch it when I wake up in the morning.
I'm just debating on whether or not I could actually keep this live stream going for that long. I don't know.
I like Bad Batch.
I have not watched Bad Batch yet, but then I haven't watched Clone Wars all the way through. So
what?
I'm not ignoring you, Thomas. But look at the crazy people I have on this live stream. How can I follow the chat while I got all these people yelling in my ears? Come on, there.
Crazy anti-tracker.
I'm crazy.
Yeah, but I'm not crazy.
I got Mercer. I got this crazy man who has sex with Momo. I got Kermit. Daniel's being crazy because listen to Daniel just won't let anybody else talk, and then Mr. CCDV.
Mr. CCDV has the reputation of never shutting up. So
I hardly ever shut up either.
That's true.
And I talk about random stuff.
Yeah, so I don't know if I can stream for 5 more hours. I'll see, but
I don't think I'll be on for 5 more hours.
let's see. Tom says Snyder Cut is coming out on Blu-ray 4K on September 7th. Well,
he's a hack. Snyder's a hack.
No, stop it.
Oh.
No. I'm gonna attack you on that one. Look, Mercer, I love you, so don't take any of this as personal.
Only he could make a flop out of Batman versus Superman.
Wait. My stream, I get to yell first. So because this is my problem here. Is when we as lay people, which all 6 of us here are lay people, because
how do you know?
Because none of the 6 of us on this panel have made a $200 million blockbuster movie.
He didn't pay for that. He got the studio to pay for it.
I don't give a. Have you made
the character?
Mercer,
didn't know what else to do with those characters.
Have you made a $200 million movie?
No, but it doesn't take. It doesn't
wait.
take somebody else. It doesn't take talent to make a movie with that money.
Mercer, do you even know how to make a $200 million movie?
Yeah, I do. More than
you know how to make it. You know how to make a $200 million.
More than that.
I've made 2 $200 million movies and $1 billion movie called Crocodile Dundee 3. Crocodiles in
$1 billion.
Yes.
Hello, Ozio Prey.
The trick is you spend all the money on yourself.
I think that Batman versus Superman is an amazing movie.
Yeah, it's pretty awful. Did he have to use establishing shots anywhere in the movie?
Batman versus Superman is a good movie if you want a good action movie, but that's about it.
Hold on, Batman v Superman.
You can save money by taking the dingoes straight from the outback and not paying for the train dingoes that they try to sell you.
What?
How many sock accounts do you even have, Bird?
A lot, probably.
Iodo is Bird.
And now you have Yitza making, freaking avatars for your sock accounts. That's like sad.
Oh, I drew this myself.
Sure you did.
Ozio Prey, have you seen any crocodile Lokis lately?
Oh, yeah, I fought one. It damn thing took my hand off.
That's what it does.
Then you die of blood loss.
I know. I made a tourniquet out of
something.
One of those things sticks you throw. Boomerang.
You made a tourniquet out of a boomerang?
Oh yeah.
That's not how that works.
How? Yeah, explain that one.
Well, the boomerangs are made out of the wood, but when the wood is still fresh, it's bendy and moist. So I moistened it up all good and turned. Well, yeah, it got infected, but then I deal with that the next week.
Why not
My
go to
bush
the
friends,
hospital?
they have a root that you rub on. It's better than any antibiotic. It also tastes delicious.
Somehow I don't believe you.
I don't think that's the right line, Ozio Prey.
Have any of you seen the new Crocodile Hunter show? But with his family?
No.
Oh, yeah, I hunt the crocs with the family, too. All Australians do.
No. Crikey, it's the Irwin show.
I rest in peace, Irwin.
It's his remaining living family.
Steve Irwin's kids. Yeah.
Yeah. His daughter had a girl.
I haven't seen
His daughter had a daughter.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's what we call reproduction down here. It happens every generation or so.
That's where what we call where I am too.
Guess who the daddy was? I was the daddy.
Are you cooking a
Course
koala
Ozzy
bear?
O'Prey was.
Are you cooking a koala bear?
Oh yeah, cooking it, keeping it nice and warm.
I don't think I like him anymore.
Who, the koala?
Why you have to cook the koalas before the fires come and cook them, because then they're not so good eating. They're only good eating when you cook them.
That makes me upset.
Oh, I don't care. I'm in Australia. You can't reach me.
How do you know I can't?
Because I can tell you've got an Irish accent. You're in the north.
I'm not in Ireland though.
You're close enough.
I'm nowhere near Ireland.
You're closer to Ireland than Australia, though.
That is true.
Oh,
kind of.
Kermit doesn't.
I'm a master of geography. All Australians know geography.
Awesome. Kermit doesn't want you to taste his Lucky Charms.
Australians are good at two things: kicking ass, geography, math, and opera.
That's three things.
That's what I said.
No, you said two.
You said two.
You said two.
Oh, I don't have to take this type of bullshit.
Yes, you do, as long as you're on here.
Crikey.
Yeah, apparently he did say Oprah, Cinnabon, yes.
Yeah, Cinnabon Bunny wants to know why you like Oprah so much.
Oi, Oprah. Oprah is a beautiful woman, and she has very much to teach us about the ways of the world. And
she's bullshit. She took away TLC.
She taught me how to create a boomerang that always comes back even when you throw it backwards.
I don't believe that.
Oh, you don't have to. Don't ever turn your back on Oprah. You'll get hit in the front with a boomerang.
Well,
I don't think I will.
There is a great big beautiful building in Sydney called the Sydney Opera House.
Oh, yes, the Sydney Opera House. It was named after Oprah.
It's opera.
She filmed her show at the Sydney Opera House. Also, they filmed Wheel of Fortune there, too. Vanna White came down, and the puzzle was...
They filmed Wheel of Fortune.
Maybe the dingo ate your baby.
Does anyone remember that?
You got the W's, W, Q, Z, F, C, and the number 7. And you got to choose 3 more consonants and a special character.
Does anyone remember when Vanna White played a Greek god Aphrodite in a TV movie?
I do remember that TV movie.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, I was watching that when I was a kid. She played Aphrodite, the goddess of love, in like a TV movie.
It was Xena.
It was pretty bad.
I've started watching Xena. That's a good show.
Oh, they filmed Xena at the island next door.
You mean Tasmania?
No, New Zealand.
You mean Papua New Guinea because they're next door?
Oh, no, next door to the east.
I don't even know what we're talking about.
I thought Australia was the island and New Zealand was the continent. Did I have those backwards?
Yes. They're both islands.
We're all islands down here, Sonny.
If all I get to toss in here is that these two going has been like listening to two Furbies go.
I gotta say, you sound like a man who has a phony shower. Do you need to get your drain checked?
What?
What?
Between your stream earlier, Bird, and Michael, you being on there, I've been working on just screwing around with systems all night tonight, just laughing. This has been great tonight.
I watched
my brain hurts.
I watched that Crikey's the Irwin show, and this zookeeper had to help a koala try to mate, and she didn't look too happy
sometimes
about
the koalas, they're not so,
Man, there's got to be someone else that can come on. We need
they're
one
not
more
so
insane
hot in the
person.
pants.
Listening to Kermit and Ozzy O'Prey is going to keep me entertained all night.
Oh, they sell these special koala blankets that you put on them and they vibrate. They go buzz, 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 and they get them in the mood.
I do love how
That's
Bird
not how
showing
that
up
works.
was at the perfect time to stop that whole debate about Skippy there.
I'm a master debater
Zack Snyder.
here in Australia.
I was trying to make a serious point about Zack Snyder, and then he just ruined it.
Oh, Zack Snyder.
How can you be serious about
national
Zack Snyder,
treasure.
the hack? Zack the hack. How
Oh,
could you
now,
be ser-
now you're going to go into Zack the Hack.
Yeah, Zack the hack. Only he can
We
ruin
need
a
an authentic
franchise
accent here.
with glorious purpose.
I did not see the Snyder cut.
Only he could ruin a franchise like Batman and Superman the way he did, man. I mean, how could you make a Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman movie and have it make less than like nothing? You know, like it's not even $1 billion. It could have been a $2 billion movie. It could have been a $2 billion movie
did
that
not
has the
see the
3
Snyder
most
cut.
iconic characters ever made. At the height of the superhero franchise, and it can't even crawl up above 800 million when they spent like a godly fortune making this thing, and they had a script that absolutely sucked.
I'd call that a DC problem more than anything.
I did not.
Well, DC decided to give him the keys to their franchise because they didn't know who else to give it to.
The Roos are getting
They
restless.
decided to give
I've got to
Zack
go
Snyder the
feed them.
keys to their stupid franchise. It's like, here's the keys because we don't know who else to give it to. You take it because you've done stupid movies before.
So it had a budget of about $250 million.
Yeah, which is a lot of freaking money.
I did not even
And
see the Snyder cut.
It made about $873 million, so just shy of $900 million. So it was a profitable film.
Yeah, it made money. I'm not saying it didn't, but it should have been $1 billion or maybe $2 billion. Maybe $2 billion.
The big problem with Batman v Superman was the fact that it was the second film in the DCEU. That was its biggest problem. It was too early.
Good night. Wish me luck. Have fun.
Most likely kill you in the
I'm
morning.
gonna feed the crikeys now.
Most
See you
likely
later,
kill you in the
Ozzy
morning.
O'Prey.
You're feeding the
Good luck,
crikeys?
Ozzy.
What does that even mean? So it was the second film in the DCEU. That would be like if Captain America.
No, that's not a fair comparison because Marvel had already been making
Mercer, shut up.
Not a fair comparison.
If yes, it absolutely is. If Captain America: Civil War was the second movie in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, then that would have been the same thing because
Marvel had already been cracking the code for super. It's not like DC exists in a vacuum. It's
Mercer, you're calm down, buddy. Calm down, okay? 9/11 wasn't an inside job. It's okay, all right. So when the problem was that Warner Brothers wanted to rush to get to Justice League. They wanted to push and push and push and get there. They wanted to get there overnight. They didn't want to build the franchise like Marvel did. If you look at Marvel and you look at Iron Man, and then they didn't go from Iron Man to, okay, what are we going to do? Civil War. Yeah, no, they went from Iron Man to what was next? Did they? What do you remember? Do you remember
Iron Man 2.
No, it wasn't Iron Man 2. Do you remember what came after Iron Man?
Probably the Incredible Hulk. but I
Yeah,
never seen
Incredible Hulk. Okay.
The movie everyone forgets.
Do you remember what came after Incredible Hulk? Take a guess.
Iron Man 2. I don't know.
Yeah, it was Iron Man 2. Then what?
Captain America?
Nope. Then it was Thor. Then it was Captain America. Then it was the Avengers. All right. And then it was Iron Man 3.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean DC had to follow the same model. If DC knew how to write a movie, they could have started with Justice League.
Mercer. That is the secret. The secret is that Marvel built a universe. They didn't try to get to Nirvana overnight.
Agreed.
Okay.
I agree with you.
So guess what? Okay, so if we go back and we look at, let's go to the Incredible Hulk. Okay, Incredible Hulk box office had a budget of $150 million, made $264 million. $264 million. By today's standards, it was an absolute disaster box office wise. All right. So Marvel spent.
Don't they consider anything under $1 million a disaster?
No, because Marvel's only had a handful of films break $1 billion. All right, but the idea,
I mean in general.
No, it's a doubling of what it costs to make.
Yeah, you basically
double it loses.
You basically need to do at least. If you double your production budget, then you're breaking even.
Barely. You actually got to make triple. You actually got to make triple.
Anyway, the point is that Marvel's first few films did not make huge amounts of money. It wasn't until the Avengers that Marvel started making lots of money. When they built their brand, they took all of those first few films to build that reputation, to get everybody vested in their universe, so that when the Avengers came out, everybody was excited.
But DC didn't necessarily have to do that.
Yes, they did.
No, because not everybody needs to follow the same model. Not everybody. The DC's characters are already iconic. They didn't. If they had good writing, they didn't have to follow the same model. Let me talk for a second.
No. Just because you know who Superman is doesn't mean you don't have to reestablish him.
You do have to reestablish him, but you don't have to copy Marvel to do it. You don't have. You might want to, but you don't have to. If you have a well-written movie, you can write good writing. Can solve.
You don't have to copy Marvel's style. You don't.
No, but you don't have to even copy. Oh, we need 5 films to lead to this film. You don't need to do that.
You absolutely do need to do that.
They could open with a Justice League movie. Hypothetically, you can open with a Justice League movie and then split them off if you wanted to.
The box office.
You're talking about a small sample size. You're talking about we're now in the height of the comic book movie. They could have done what they wanted if they wrote it well.
More freaking proof? Look at the Fast and the freaking Furious. The Fast and the Furious.
I've never seen them.
Well, you know what? It's the most successful franchise that Universal Studios has ever produced. You know why? Because they built a freaking franchise.
I'm just saying there's more than one way to do this.
No, there isn't.
No, there
really
isn't.
You build a franchise.
And DC didn't do that. Obviously, even if going with your argument, DC decided to rush it, and they decided to let Zack write The Dark Knight Returns and throw it in Batman versus Superman. The Death of Superman. He just let's combine 2 edgy graphic novels and make a crappy movie. That's what he did.
It's not a crappy movie.
I don't know why you guys are yelling at each other when you're saying the same thing.
Well, the problem is that it's not because
tempers get heated.
It's a crappy movie.
It's not a crappy movie. It's just way too early in the franchise.
Tempers and opinions get heated.
Right. It's way too early in the franchise.
It doesn't matter. If it was a good movie, people would have gone to see it. People didn't go to see it because it wasn't a good movie.
That is absolutely not true. The problem is that if you compare Man of Steel to Iron Man, because that's what it is. Man of Steel is the Iron Man of the DCEU. Man of Steel made a whole lot more money than Iron Man did. And by the way, Wonder Woman made a whole lot more money than Thor did. The problem is that they tried to, instead of doing, if they had just done Batman instead of Batman v Superman if they had just done a Batman solo film, and then they had done a Flash solo film and a Cyborg solo film, then a Justice...
That's not necessarily, it probably would have worked, but they could have led with a Justice League movie and then split them off. There's no one way to do this.
There is. The problem is that you're rushing things. And so and the problem is guess what? People when we had Batman v Superman,
did they make a solo Star-Lord movie? Did they make a solo Gamora movie? Did they make a solo Groot movie? Oh, they had those characters all in one film.
Mercer. Let me finish.
Calm down, Mercer.
Let me finish.
No, he won't let me talk.
What do you mean I won't let you talk? You're sitting there, you cut me off and you're screaming at me. If you look at what they did in Marvel, Guardians of the Galaxy are a small offshoot that work on their own. They would be like the equivalent of Suicide Squad.
Yeah, but they still introduced 6 new characters in one movie.
And you know what? They did that in Suicide Squad too. They're kind of off on their own, just like Guardians of the Galaxy.
How small or big they are doesn't matter. They could have introduced the Justice League.
Dude, relax. Okay. The problem here is that people didn't know this Batman. All right, they were just getting to know this Superman, and they didn't know this Lex Luthor. They didn't know, and so all of a sudden they're being thrown all this stuff like we're supposed to know.
Because Zach wrote it. That's why.
It has nothing to do with the fact that Zach wrote it. It had to do with the fact that people weren't given a proper introduction.
Yeah, and he could have introduced it. He could have written it better. He wrote it like a hack.
Actually, he didn't write it.
Whoever wrote it.
He's not he's not a hack. Do not use that word when you don't understand what that means. Because you could not make a better film than he did.
But that's not a requirement for me to call somebody.
No, it absolutely is. You have no right to sit there and condescend and call the man a hack.
It's just hyperbolic. It's like making fun of Ryan Johnson. It's like hyperbolic.
And you know what? And I've said it to Doomcock's face, and I will tell you, you do not call these people hacks. You do not.
I just made it figuratively.
No. Well, you know what? Don't do it.
All right.
Don't.
But I'm just saying he could have made $1 billion movie if he had a better script and he knew how to direct the film, but he didn't.
And you know what? He could have made $1 billion movie if Warner Brothers had let him.
Yes, I agree with you. I actually agree with you.
And actually made a Batman
I agree with you. But if he actually made the story coherent, if he actually directed scenes that played out and had themes that played together, then he could have made $1 billion film that way too.
Mercer, you're not listening again. All right.
The film is flawed.
Yeah, of course, every film is flawed.
Every film is flawed.
There's no such thing as a perfect film. But in this particular case, the biggest flaw of the film was that it was way too early in the franchise.
I agree with you.
This film should have been where Civil War was.
I don't think you do agree with him.
Yeah, you're acting like it's just because Zack Snyder sucks. You're just on the Zack Snyder hate train for whatever reason. I will tell you,
Zack Snyder makes some good movies.
Yeah, Zack Snyder
made some good movies. I guess made a few bad ones too.
Well,
you know what?
Have you worked in the industry? Are you a writer?
Yeah, if we had to use that standard, no one would like Alien because
every director has bad movies and every director has good movies.
Exactly.
Ridley Scott hasn't had 100% success rate.
Yeah,
half his movies are only middling.
No director has been ever 100% good or bad.
Right. Zack Snyder is a very talented director, and honestly, he's made some really good movies. And sure, he's made some movies that maybe you don't like very much. So what? I happen to I know that some people hate it, but I happen to think that Zack Snyder's 300 is a really good movie. I happen to think that Watchmen is a really good movie. I happen to think that Man of Steel and Batman v Superman and the Snyder Cut of Justice League are really good movies. The biggest problem, though, is that there needs to be about 5 more movies in there before Zack Snyder's Justice
But that would not fix the problems with the script in the film itself.
It would have prevented them, perhaps, because all you got to do is look at the Universal Monster Universe. They made an absolute hot mess out of that.
Yeah.
And that's the same studio that produced the Fast and the Furious.
Yeah.
All I'm saying is that there are script problems in Batman versus Superman, and he directed it, and he
Let me ask you, Mercer, have you seen the Ultimate Edition of Batman?
I've seen both of them, yes.
Okay. Because most of the quote-unquote script problems were taken care of in the Ultimate Edition.
Not really, not in my opinion, but like
Yes,
for
really.
example, Lois Lane hunting for the person with the bullet. She was just giving her something to do. It played no real part in the story because the audience was already 3 steps ahead of her. So it just was a useless subplot that they put in the movie to give her something to do. I mean, the idea that we never saw Batman as a regular Batman. By the time we meet Batman, he's already over the edge. So the whole scene where he does the Arkham fight is supposed to be like his return to glory. But since we never saw him originally, and the problem is that he tried to tailor the film to be both like you don't know anything about these characters. It's supposed to be about these characters that we're not supposed to bring our pop culture knowledge into the film. Let me finish my thought, please, because I haven't been able to finish a thought. We're not supposed to bring our knowledge that these characters are pop culture icons. These are new takes of the characters. We're not supposed to bring that into the film. And yet, when Batman comes back and he's in his old costume and he's doing the Arkham fight, it's like Batman is back. But it only works because we already know who Batman is from what we know before we even watch the film. Snyder does not know how to balance the pop culture reverence for the characters with his own take.
Actually, the funny thing about what you just said there, Mercer, is that proves exactly what I was arguing. Had there been a Batman film, and actually, here's how I would have constructed this universe, is that if after Man of Steel, we had a Batman film where we had shown, okay, Batman and Robin.
I agree with you there. I agree with what you're saying.
Batman and the Tim Drake Robin in Gotham.
No Robin!
Shut up, Alexander. Shut up for a minute, Alexander. So Batman and the Tim Drake Robin on adventures in Gotham City. Joker kills Tim Drake. And then we have Batman going dark in that movie and start to take things too far because he's without Robin now. And that is why Batman is now going kind of crazy. And we end up with the Batman that we have in Batman v Superman. And that, by the way, is consistent with Batman, and that would be Batman from Batman v Superman.
Momo is here. Hello, Momo.
Hi, Momo.
Fuck you, Momo the Challenger. Fuck you, Momo the Challenger. Nobody wants you. Nobody wants you. You are a disgusting piece of shit.
I don't mind Momo being here because I don't know anything about him.
Your challenge.
I like Momo.
I don't mind Momo because I don't know anything about him.
I just wanted to apologize to Michael. I'm sorry.
No. Hey, first of all, let me say this.
No, I want to apologize.
No, it's all good, Mercer. And this is something that I want to make sure that we're all clear on. We can fight, and we can fight with passion as long as we're all friends at the end of the day.
Okay,
right?
great. I'm sorry, though. I just wanted to apologize.
No. It's all good, Mercer. I'm going to cut you off there. I'm not angry with you because you're passionate about it, and I respect that. But
Batman vs. Superman is a good movie.
Doesn't everyone in the world know about Batman, even if they've never read a comic or seen the movie?
I do like it better than Man of Steel. I'll tell you that. I like it better than Man of Steel, but...
Well, Kermit, the problem is, and I think this is where Warner Brothers made the mistake, is that you're right. Everybody knows who Batman is. And so I think that Warner Brothers was banking on the idea that, everybody knows Batman, so we can just kind of skip over that.
And it created two conflicting tones with how they handled it.
Superman's the same way, isn't it?
Well, except Superman got his solo movie with Man of Steel.
Man of Steel was not the same Superman I grew up with, though.
Right,
Because,
and that's the thing. Like,
Jonathan Kent was not the Jonathan Kent that I knew from when I was growing up. Jonathan Kent was kind of an a-hole.
That was where they dropped the ball with Superman. I think that Jonathan Kent was the biggest mistake in the DCEU, to be honest.
We're agreeing more than we're disagreeing, and I want to apologize again because I was kind of being hyperbolic, and I admit that, and I won't be anymore. I promise.
It's okay.
I really just wanted to make my point.
I'm
that I think
hyperbolic
the script is the problem. My only thing is the script is the real problem, and trying to be edgy was the real problem with that movie, more so than the building up. It's the desire to be edgy and cool, and it just blew up in their faces. That's my opinion.
That's a problem with Hollywood all around right now.
Right, but that's my problem with the script of the Batman versus Superman movie is that it tried to be the death of Superman, it tried to be the Dark Knight Returns, and it tried to be edgy and dark, and yet it just seemed like a bunch of hodgepodge, and it didn't have any good establishing shots or good filmmaking.
I'm hyperbolic all the time on this channel.
Right, but that's just my opinion. I don't. He's not literally a hack. I mean, obviously he makes movies and I don't, so I understand. But I'm just saying that the film itself, just taken on its own, whether it was the 8th film or the 2nd film, the film has script and filmmaking flaws that I can't get past. That's my only point.
I understand. And the reason that
Batman versus Superman, I think this is a really good
I saw
movie. I watched it 3 times and I love it.
The reason I got so harsh with you about that is that where we make a mistake, and whether we're Phantom Menace or crazy SJWs or whatever.
Yeah, I'm not one of those either.
I know you're not, but wherever we fall, as far as our personal beliefs and stuff, what we have this tendency to do is dehumanize people by calling them a hack.
It was just a hyperbolic attack.
I know, but we'll call them a hack, or we'll say Ruin Johnson or Jar Jar Abrams or whatever, and we need to break that habit.
I got you. I understand that. I just meant it because the film could have been great. It's the most interesting film. I'll put it this way: Batman versus Superman is the most interesting film that DC has done. It's just it's got too many tonal problems for me.
I wanted to say something about the Snyder Cut.
What's that?
I saw the original Justice League, and I've heard that they didn't change very much of it, so I didn't watch the Snyder Cut.
Oh no, they changed a lot.
They added. I couldn't make it past 45 minutes. I'll have to finish watching it. But there was a scene where they're shooting an arrow, and it seems to take like a half an hour for the arrow to land. And I'm like, I'm turning this off.
I don't
know. She shoots an arrow, and it takes like half an hour for it to land.
Herman, and the Snyder Cut is a totally different movie. You should watch it.
You want to hear something absurd? Then
I was entertained the entire 4 hours I was watching it. I really was. I think the Snyder Cut is a very good version of the movie.
Hey, anybody in the chat? Do you know what's going on with Matthew's? Isn't tonight Sequest night? Because I don't see anything.
Mercer.
Yes, I'm here.
Did you ever watch Walking Dead?
No, but I have a friend that does. I've never. It looks okay.
You want to hear an absurd scene in the very early scene? This guy was shooting his shotgun, and this is like double barrel shotgun for like 10 minutes straight. And when you pan back to him, only a single shell drops.
Yeah. Hollywood does that all the time, and we just have to accept it. But all I was saying about BVS is that it's got consistency problems within the plot, and it's trying to replicate 2 graphic novels without understanding what made those graphic novels work. That's my point. With just that
decades of lore,
it just doesn't know how to handle the material that it was trying to replicate, which is like the death of Superman.
It was so good, that movie. I love it so much.
Well, and that's where I get to where I think they really tried to rush it way too much. Where I think that if we had done the DCEU, where we had a Batman movie, a Batman and Robin movie, where the movie ended with the death of Robin,
Yeah, that could have worked. All I'm saying is that any well-written script could work. If the script is well-written, it could have been a Justice League. I'm just saying hypothetically. I'm not saying this is the best way, but if they wanted to come out of the gate and do something different than Marvel, and they came out with a Justice League movie and then had films that split them off and then come back later, that could work, assuming the script is good. Any script can work if it's good, if they actually look at the script and make it work. I'm just saying hypothetically they could have done it because it would have been different enough from Marvel, and they could have made this big team movie and then showed the reason they split off. Whatever happens, the point is, my problem with Batman versus Superman is the script itself, not where it was placed.
I understand. The problem, I think, where you're having an issue with the script, and where I'm having an issue in the rush, in the fact that it was rushed, more than the script. I think that the script aspect of Batman v Superman was the fact that they tried to combine too much, because we have the Dark Knight Returns story combined with the Death of Superman story, and except that we changed the Death of Superman story to where Doomsday is created by Lex Luthor. And we changed the Dark Knight Returns story to where instead of the president ordering Superman to bring in Batman, we have Lex Luthor manipulating the two to fight each other. And it was just kind of that element of it was kind of weird. I think what they should have done was just run with one storyline. And just narrowed the focus.
It's just a script, that's what I'm saying.
Apparently, Matthew is supposed to be on in about 15 minutes if he can figure out how to set up from prison.
Yeah, and so if he manages to get his stream started, then we'll stop then. We'll see. But Matthew is notorious for not being able to figure out how to get his stream started. It's Matthew, after all. So... What I think that, if they had done the Death of Robin story, then you have, and this is where I think it could get interesting. So we go from the Death of Robin story straight to, from that we can go to a Batman v Superman where it makes sense. So we go to a movie where Batman is now, instead of just Batman and Robin fighting crime and getting people put in prison, Batman is out there killing criminals.
Yeah.
And the reason he's killing criminals is because the Joker killed Robin. And so so that pushed Batman over the edge, and he's not going to take it anymore, so he is executing criminals.
Or maybe he was killing criminals before, and Robin objected to it, and there's a weakness in their bond together.
Robin's death actually did push Batman over the edge in the comics before.
Right.
Oh yeah, the Killing Joke could have been DC's Batman movie.
Exactly, that would have been the first Batman movie, and so now if Batman is out there and maybe not executing, but at least like beating the living snot out of these guys to where they're barely alive, and so people are like really worried about what's going on with the Bat. Why is he beating these guys within an inch of their lives? And so the governor or the president himself reaches out to Superman and says, "Look, we need someone to apprehend Batman. You're the only one that can do it." And so
that
now
would have led into Batman v Superman perfectly. Yes.
Exactly. Now we actually have a logical reason for Batman and Superman to fight.
Like, they actually had a pretty good reason to fight.
The Killing Joke had been the Batman movie.
Yeah.
Right.
They actually had a pretty logical reason to fight within the first 5 minutes of the movie, where Bruce Wayne sees the destruction. They gave him extra motivations for some reason, like they tried to do this bullet plot and this, dirty bomb plot. Like Snyder just piled too much into the movie. It's almost like he had a good conflict, but then he spent 40 minutes adding stuff that didn't need to be added, like more convoluted. My problem with modern movies is not that they're complicated; it's that they're convoluted. Almost every modern movie It has too many plots to try to explain something. And movies in the 80s that I grew up with had very simple. They're not simplistic, but they were simple plots that you can go from A to B to C and see why a character is motivated to do that. But these days, movies need to add stuff. They just need to add plot turns and plot twists and give Bruce Wayne 6 reasons to go after Superman rather than 1 reason.
So here's where we go from there, and this is why I talk about you think about it, and this is a different way to do it than Marvel, but you think about the movies as chapters, kind of like you did in the old Buck Rogers or Flash Gordon days, right? So we have the Batman v Superman is simply the president wants them to fight each other, and they end up having the fight in Crime Alley, and that ultimately Superman is going to win that fight. All right, Batman's going to get a few good licks in. He's going to use his kryptonite tech to try and take him down and come really, really close. But Superman's ultimately going to win that fight. And at the final blow is going to go in Superman's favor. And then, before Superman brings him in, the way the movie's going to end is Superman's going to hear something off in the distance, which is going to be the underground cell of Doomsday. And Doomsday is going to be breaking out of his cell, which is hundreds of miles away. He's going to be punching his way out of the cell to get to the surface of the ground.
I honestly thought you were going to say save Martha.
No, Martha has nothing to do with it. And by the way, that while not exactly not in that order, that did happen in the comic books. That's how Doomsday originally was buried in a cell underground, and he punched his way out after being buried there for hundreds of years, or thousands of years actually. And he literally punched his way out with one hand tied behind his back. And so and like in like a straitjacket type of outfit. And so Doomsday next movie is basically, you just call the next movie Doomsday, and Doomsday is literally fighting his way across the country, seemingly trying to get to Metropolis. He's like just making a beeline for Metropolis. And this is where we introduce every major superpowered character, because basically along the way, while he crosses the country, we're going to introduce every major superpowered characters. They're all going to converge on Doomsday to try and stop him.
That's cool. That's a good idea.
You meet the Flash in Central City, and you're
going to meet Flash. You're going to meet Green Lantern. Anybody you have along the way, but they're all going to get absolutely thrashed.
Yeah, even Amazons are going to get thrashed.
Right. Wonder Woman's going to get thrashed. Everybody's going to get thrashed. And then finally, finally Superman is going to have his big fight at the end, and that's where we get the death of Superman.
And in this version, Doomsday was created by Darkseid.
Huh?
In this version, Doomsday was created by Darkseid?
No, Doomsday. The original Doomsday was actually a Kryptonian genetic experiment.
Yeah, it sounds like a downer of a movie, though. If everybody loses,
exactly. Well, that's the thing. That's why it's called Doomsday. And so
you need to give the audience something.
Well, at the end of the day, everybody is beaten, although not killed. But you do have a couple of characters that are killed, and then Superman is like, you have your Green Lantern. You introduce a Green Lantern who is killed, and the Ring finds somebody else. That's where you introduce a new Green Lantern, like Hal Jordan or something.
Precious.
And then that way you can have your Green Lantern movie be about that person getting the power ring and learning about being a Green Lantern. But anyway, and then the death of Superman is the climax of that film. Your next movie then becomes Reign of the Supermen.
I don't think DC wanted to spend all that money.
Or the time. Just listening to you go through that, Michael.
But you see, these are like $200 to $300 million films, and that I think Zack Snyder will be fully capable of making. And then you go from that to your Justice League film. So now, after Reign of the Supermen, Batman gets the idea that, you know what, we need to organize a team in case a massive threat like Doomsday shows up again.
Oh, that's a good story. I'm just saying.
And so Batman becomes the brains behind the idea that, okay, you know what? And by the way, you have Batman walk into, and this I think would be a wonderful scene, right? You have Bruce Wayne come into the Daily Planet.
Wasn't Batman always in charge of the Justice League?
No, it depends on who's writing. It's been done differently in different ways.
Hasn't he at least funded or given them the task?
He's done it. Yeah, he's done it a lot. Like he's been kind of the Tony Stark, but with a little less attitude.
Yeah,
but
it's usually either Superman or Batman who is in charge of the Justice League.
Yeah, but imagine this. Imagine I think this would be a great scene from that movie. Is you have Ben Affleck's Bruce Wayne casually walking into the Daily Planet, introduces himself, says hi to Lawrence Fishburne, and says, "Oh, I heard about that reporter Clark Kent. Is he here? Yeah, let me talk to him real quick." And he goes, "Hey, Clark, can I talk to you for a second?" And then they walk into a little conference room. And he goes, "Okay, look, I need your help with this Justice League for me." He's like, "Why?" He goes, "Well, because you're a Kryptonian and you can lift buildings and stuff." And he's like, "What the hell are you talking about?" He goes, "Look, I know you're Superman. I'm Batman. Can we get past the formalities here?"
How did Lex Luthor know anyway? That's what I was trying to figure out in the movie. How did Lex Luthor know who they were?
They never really explained how Lex figured it out.
Yeah,
but I think
that's one of the problems.
Right.
It happened off screen.
Exactly. But I would love to see you could have
That is a good story, Mike.
But you could have Bruce going around going tracking, because Bruce is the kind of guy that he'd walk in, "Hey, Barry Allen, how you doing?"
That's what they did in the movie too.
Yeah, that flash thing you do, it's awesome. I need your help.
Another answer is a wizard told him.
Yeah,
anyway,
you going through that.
I'm proud to be in this community, and I'm sorry I got edgy there for a second.
Oh, that's good, man. That's good.
I get edgy all the time.
You going through all that, Michael, just really breaks down just how much work they must have done on the MCU in advance, because we know that there were all kinds of things thrown in Iron Man in preparation, including the end scenes. And when you look at larger franchises, and it doesn't even have to be superheroes,
Michael,
you look at anything else where all of a sudden it's just kind of gone sideways. It's almost always when the studio loses interest in taking risks, because it takes effort, like you said, to build out these stories. And in the last 20 years, I would say a lot of movie studios are threatened by the success of serialized stories in television. They're desperate to try to fight back and build that style of a story into a movie franchise. And then when Marvel started succeeding, everybody just started panicking because, like I said earlier, Universal decided to try to bring back the monster universe.
But they were doing it without a direction.
Yeah, they had
exactly.
And DC, frankly, doesn't have a lot of direction.
They didn't have a roadmap.
Because every time DC actually finds, the DC franchise finds success, especially through Warner Brothers, they almost always squander it right afterwards. Like you could take the first two Batman movies from the 80s or 80s and 90s, I guess, and they were fine. But then after that, it just kind of went sailing off the deep end. And you got nips on suits, and then you don't know what to do with Superman. You leave the franchise for Superman in limbo with things like I was going to say Luke Cage, but with Nick Cage, with that whole finagle, I mean, they spent millions of dollars on that, and they ended up with nothing. And then they do, Superman Returns? That was kind of and then they did, and then they went off and they did Man of Steel, which they did after Batman under the Dark Knight franchise,
right?
And
I think Zack Snyder had a vision, but not a goal.
Well, and no one there to say, "Hey, you've gone too far. Let's keep the tone consistent." Because to Mercer's point, you don't want to be like Marvel with the pithy commentary that you get from some of the directors and whatnot that they picked in. If that's what you want to do, if you want to differentiate a little bit, but you still have to have a degree of structure that was always present in pretty much all the Marvel movies, which is why even a middling Marvel movie was still a good movie.
Well, any movie needs to be a good movie on its own.
Tends to. It's okay to have a slip every now and then if it helps build the rest of the story. Like, I always forget about the Hulk movie, but it wasn't a bad movie. It suffered from the problem that Hulk always does.
Well, what's saying is like James Cameron never made a movie, whether it was part of a franchise or not, that was just a bad movie just to make a movie. He tried. He made bad movies, but he always tried to make good ones.
I don't think that Marvel Studios has not made a single bad movie. They've made some movies that are average, but they've not made a bad movie, which is saying something. Because most studios, you can't say that. But the nice thing about Marvel that I really appreciate is that even today, even though it doesn't, some people doubt it all the time, I've never felt like Marvel doesn't have a direction. Like, I think that Phase 4 does have a direction, and I think that Kevin Feige does have a clear idea of where he's taking things.
I kind of question it a little bit that they have a direction, but I blame a lot of that on the fact that,
I think
the coronavirus has really screwed everything up.
I think COVID has thrown a monkey wrench in it a little bit. Yeah. But I think that there is a direction in what they're doing. I just think that it's hard to see it right now.
Well, and I'd heard that there was quite a lot of shooting that was intended for WandaVision that got scuppered because of all of the coronavirus requirements. So that the pacing on that, apparently, from what I've read or heard, is it kind of got, it got twisted a little bit, into what it had to be because they had to make it work. They had to get it out.
Mm-hmm.
And I like WandaVision. I mean, there were issues with the pacing here and there. I didn't need the black and white as much, but the show fundamentally is a fine result for me. But
and I'm really looking forward to seeing what happens tonight. And the funny, there's not so far. There hasn't been anything that I haven't been looking forward to.
Well, the biggest stumble for me has actually been the lack of driving cause to want to have watched the Falcon and the Winter Soldier. I didn't find any issue with all like you say, Doomcock and all those guys, because I did used to watch a lot of them, and they kind of make hay over nothing. But the one big problem that particular series had was the villain was, laughable and not believable, not really, it's like they just took on Thanos, and then they got a bunch of young kids that managed to get the super soldier serum.
It didn't feel like a big villain.
No, especially up against another super soldier.
Mm-hmm.
Anti-Trucker, I'm gonna bow out now.
Sure.
So thank you for having me on. It was nice meeting you guys.
Absolutely.
Good chatting with you.
Have a good one, man.
Bye.
Bye.
But yeah, it's kind of a funny thing because I'm a huge Aliens fan, so for me, I have a problem with much. I understand everything that was intended with the third Alien movie, but for me, my canon with Aliens stops at Aliens because, unfortunately, again, like I said earlier, it's that whole studios want to get money. They don't necessarily understand how that happens.
I don't think I've seen the full Alien franchise.
Well, there's 2 movies.
I think Star Trek stopped in 2000, whatever Enterprise ended.
2005, yeah.
That's when Star Trek stopped for me, and now it's just Orville and nothing, because that feels like Star Trek.
The Orville was actually... I thought Orville Season 2 was better than 1.
Oh, yeah, well, that's...
Orville's
typical with a lot of shows.
Yeah, Orville's a fun show. And that's just because Orville's finding its footing. The question is, how is Orville going to be with season 3? Because that'll be the first season on the Hulu budget, which, from what I've heard,
that's a lot more money, isn't it?
Yeah, from what I've heard, they've actually gotten a budgetary increase, so that'll be interesting to see what's happened. But we won't get to see it until, it sounds like, early 2022.
Yeah, I was going to say the problem there is 2 years between seasons is kind of a
Walking Dead.
Yeah.
The final Walking Dead season starts next month.
That's okay. I don't care, honestly. I haven't watched Walking Dead.
I can tell you how it ends in the comics if anyone wants to know.
I already know. So.
Could not care less.
Can I tell you how the comics end?
Kermit, I don't care. I genuinely
So
do not care.
no.
Yeah, no, don't.
Now the real challenge is Feige trying to bring the X-Men in because he needs to find something that Eric Lyncher would find that would give him cause to not trust humanity. And with the original X-Men, he had the Holocaust and the concentration camps and this whole thing to make him really feel like, you know, humanity is not to be trusted. And the idea of finding something without him making him like 90 years old, which they would need to do to keep the Holocaust, they need to find something in history that would give Eric this you know, not trust humanity with these new mutations, the mutants.
I think they're gonna incorporate Thanos into it. I think that what they're
really.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think that what they're going to end up do, because notice there's been a lot of emphasis on the snap. Which obviously it's been a world-shaking event, right? The whole being, people being blipped out for 5 years and coming back, and so I think that they're going to use that.
But does it lose the gravitas? I don't mean to interrupt, but I really have to ask: does it lose? Like one thing that made the X-Men so great was that it was a social allegory that was steeped in some sort of reality and social, and that's what made it really more interesting than like a regular comic book.
After everything settled down, and it may not have fully in some places after the snap, people would have started moving on almost immediately.
But we'll have to see how the writing is. And
I agree with that.
And so far for the MCU, the writing has been really, really solid.
Yeah.
And so one thing that we've seen is that they've managed to put together a cohesive universe that has really worked so far. And,
am I not wrong though?
Well, we'll see. I mean, that's and what I'm seeing is they've referenced people going and coming back a lot in the last couple of shows, and I think that the fact that they pushed this whole multiverse thing in the last couple of shows is going to play into it, and it'll be interesting to see if it has something to do with that. Are mutants a result of something that Wanda's doing? Because we've seen, at the end of WandaVision, the fact that we see Wanda,
They let her say biases and fuck off to who knows where.
And I'm not sure exactly what you mean there,
At
but
the end of WandaVision, they let her say biases and wander off.
Well, at the end of WandaVision, when she's in the cabin, there's two of her. And, there's one of her that's sitting there enjoying the peaceful natural environment, and then there's the other one that looks like the devil and like an evil Mephisto type character who looks like she's practicing very satanic type magic. And so
do you think she knew she was in there?
I don't know, and that's something that I think that's going to come to fruition in Doctor Strange 2, because they did say that Wanda was going to be featured heavily in Doctor Strange 2.
If I had to say anything about that scene at the cabin, that was just an artistic duality demonstration.
But they did say the fact that they
look at you using fancy words.
Jason, I tend to agree if that was in isolation, but the fact that they said that this was going to be a direct lead into Doctor Strange 2, it makes me think that she has something to do with it.
No, yeah, but I think that her sitting on the outside, all peaceful, and then her stewing back inside the cabin shows her, because remember, she was not the Scarlet Witch until this series.
Right.
She was only...
She was Wanda.
She was only Wanda, and that was it, yeah. So I think that's that whole issue where she's become malevolent to some degree, and that's she's trying to, I don't know, that's my only guess, because it's what it felt like to me when I first watched it. I was like, oh, okay, here we go. So Wanda used to be Wanda, and now she's kind of becoming this serious danger, because what's her face, the witch lady from the 1600s. Agatha, yeah. I don't follow the comics. I do enjoy the movie.
I don't either.
But she she was like the way it's written out in the MCU. She's very, very opinionated about the fact that Wanda's too dangerous to leave alive because she is this danger. And
you know what Bad Batch reminds me of? The Republic Commando book series.
Well, I haven't read the Republic Commandos, and I haven't seen Bad Batch.
Only one of the commandos gets a Jedi pregnant.
Okay.
Well, there's a left turn.
Yeah. Well, Kermit is the king of left turns, but
that's how the story went.
Well, yeah, but Kermit, I haven't seen it, so I can't comment on it.
I will say though earlier, also, when Kermit was mentioning the Bad Batch, I gotta say that between Clone Wars and Bad Batch, it's pretty much the best Star Wars since Return of the Jedi.
I have, I've really enjoyed The Mandalorian, and I've been meaning to watch that stuff, but I just haven't gotten to it yet.
Yeah, even Rebels is really good. Rebels season 1 feels too focused on the kid audience, but as soon as they bring Ahsoka back into the story in there, which isn't a big spoiler because it's talked about a lot, they really start shifting the tonality to be as close to the edge of the TV ratings that they tried to maintain for Rebels. So it's not like the complaint I get from some of my friends, because I'm in my mid to late 40s, and they don't want to watch, kids shows.
Right.
And the funny thing is the story, although attempted to be delivered in a way that's kid friendly, is a serious story throughout almost all of it. So that's why I can still very much enjoy it. Like my son, who's just graduated, we watch Bad Batch every Friday night after I'm done work. So
I think The Mandalorian works because people understand what's at stake in each episode. It works on a smaller scale, and it just happens to fit into the larger universe. The stakes are very reasonable in each episode. You always know what's going on, and sometimes the stakes are very small, but that makes you care about it. That's why I love The Mandalorian.
I actually like the Republic Commando series, which
you guys are talking different language to me.
Which they did Order 66. They were there on the night of and then I guess he rescues their kid, and then they go off to Mandalore, and then they hang out there for a long time.
Yeah, I know my hope with The Mandalorian and with all the lore that was built into the Mandalorian culture from the Rebels cartoon, Mike, is that in the next season of it, provided we hopefully still get another season, that there's some serious opportunity out there. Because even if I've never read any of the expanded universe or Legends, but everything they've built out with the Mandalorians in the cartoons, they've picked up on fully with Mandalorian live action. So, and one of the other things most people don't realize is those cartoons are all still considered canon within the Disney Star Wars universe.
At least until they get contradicted by something like that.
But one thing I love is that you can watch an episode and just, you don't need to know all that background. Like, you could just look at the character and what do you think of the character. Like, one of the reasons I love the episode where he fights that rhino is that the stakes are all just in that episode. You don't learn about his background in that episode, but you learn more about him and what he can and can't do than you do in almost any other episode. He has limitations. And I love the fact that Favreau knows how to keep each episode with stakes that are grounded enough and yet are decent sized stakes for him as a character. That's what makes it work, is just the good storytelling on a per episode basis.
Yeah, and it's consistent too.
Yeah.
It doesn't throw you around a pile.
And I love the humor too of the Jawas. That made me laugh so hard when Din just kind of shakes his head when he realizes what they're going to use the egg for. That's great stuff. That's great. He's great at doing the physical comedy.
They're very good. Those Jawas are very good at defending themselves.
Yeah, that's my favorite sequence in the entire series, is when Mando is trying to take back the ship parts. He's trying to attack their sandcrawler. That's my favorite action scene in the entire series, I think. It's so funny.
I think the humor
I don't
works
understand
there.
why he didn't have a weapon to disable their tracks.
I think
he knew
Mercer.
Wouldn't you
Wyatt,
know their general direction? Just put a few mines.
I think why the humor works there so well is because the largest amount of Jawa scenes we ever got was from A New Hope.
Yeah.
And we always dismissed them as kind of whatever. And
Yeah.
then all of a sudden, here you've got this bounty hunter, and he's being bested every other third Jawa.
It's so good. It really. I remember watching this episode, and it was like they put out the first episode, and then the same week they decided to put out another episode just because Disney Plus was starting up. So I'm thinking, this next episode, for some reason I felt it was just going to be just not as good. I just went in with no expectations because they were doing it as almost like a promotion, and I had no idea that this was going to happen. And when that chase started, I felt like I was like 8 years old again in a way that I just haven't felt in a while, because I always loved the Jawas, but just seeing this chase and seeing them, it reminds me of the video game where you're Luke's in the old Super Star Wars game when you have to attack the Sandcrawler. It's very much like that, and it's just it was just so funny the way they did it, and so brilliantly executed on a TV budget.
I feel like that.
To be fair, it's not really a TV budget.
Right, but
I feel like he had the know-how to take one of those things down, and they should have gone that route.
I just thought it was a great episode with very little dialogue, and you learn so much about the main character. You don't learn about his background, but you learn about what he can do, what he can't do, what his patience level is like. In the beginning of the episode, he fights like 3 bad guys. So he's good at taking down like 3 or 4 bad guys at once, but he can't deal with completely unexpected circumstances, and he just didn't know how to adapt his fighting style to deal with a giant tank. So it was just... The episode was just filled with challenges for him as a character, and you didn't need dialogue or convoluted storytelling or plot. You look at the episode and it's just good storytelling.
I feel like if he was thinking straight, he would know how to take that thing down.
Yeah, I'm just saying
because he wasn't thinking straight.
Yeah, it was just a brilliant bit of storytelling.
Michael?
I'm awake.
So what did you have to stay up for the extra hour and a half or so for?
Well, actually, now I'm up past the line. I was only supposed to stream until 9. It's 9:43 now. It was actually just because Mrs. Anchecker would have been mad at me because I took a nap this afternoon. So if I went to bed early, I would have gotten up so early that it would have driven her crazy.
I thought maybe you had to have an interval to take some meds.
I do actually. I do have my meds sitting right here in front of me.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's the main thing. She didn't want me getting up super duper early, even though I do have to get up relatively early. But I don't have to get up at 2 o'clock in the morning early.
Yeah.
No!
I'm actually gonna bow out because I'm on Atlantic time up here in Canada. So it's almost midnight, so I'm going to check out.
Fun.
But,
Jason, it's really good to talk to you.
Jason, it's really good to talk to you, Jason.
Yeah, I see you guys in the stream chats from time to time.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever met you before, and I really enjoy talking to you.
Yeah, thanks. You'll see me once in a blue moon on streams. I don't have a ton of spare time, but tonight I had lots of spare time, so I figured I'd take up Mike's
you're always
invitation.
Welcome, of course. Admiral Jamal joins us just as we're wrapping up again.
All right.
Jason.
See ya.
Have a good one, Jason. So I'm going to stop right there, man, because Mr. Matthew, Live with Matthew, is about to stream. I think he should be starting now, actually. So if he hasn't already, he should be live any second here. Yes, he is live right now with the Epic Beard John DeMarco. So I put the link in the chat. Please go join him. I mean that. Please go join him. He's going to watch some stupid show with dolphins that he hates because he hates dolphins. But go join him.
Dolphins rape people.
Well, see, you should go there and tell him that because he will appreciate that. I'm serious, Kermit. Go there, put that in the chat. I guarantee you Matthew will appreciate that comment. And so follow the link that I just put in the chat and tell Matthew how much Dolphins rate people. All right,
have a good one, guys.
Have a good one.
Good
Take
night.
care. And Daniel, you've been talking way too much, buddy. But I love you, man.
Yeah, sorry about that. I had to. Yeah.
It's all good. We're all friends, man. Take care and have a wonderful night.